Just look at the beautiful landscape ever so elegantly printed on Grandma Betsy's sweater. In this video, as you can tell by the title, we're going to be discussing some streetwear brands. These brands are not Supreme, but I wanted to make a streetwear themed video this week because, as some of you guys may know, we got the word that the box logos are dropping, and since I am not making weekly Supreme content talking about resale, I try to update you when there are significant pieces. No matter who you are, I'd recommend going for the Supreme box logo hoodie and beanie this week. The preferred method right now, based off what worked on the last box logo drop and what seems to have been working week after week, is actually using Apple Pay. So if that's an option, I'd recommend that. I'm not gonna go into too much depth. If you want to learn more about reselling or get into reselling, you can check out +1, which is my cook group. I will leave a link to that in the description down below. And because this video is not focused on reselling, but really just discussing some personal opinions about streetwear brands that I like, I'm not gonna go into too much depth. If you would like to see, just click that top link in the description. $9.99 to get into reselling. And like I've said before, the majority of these groups actually charge $40, $50, or even $60 a month. And we have the majority of those features for a fraction of the price. Oh, and last other thing, I couldn't mention it because it didn't really fit anywhere in the video, but I got these shorts in and they are freaking amazing. I will leave a link to these shorts and some sweatpants that are also on sale from Awake New York, which is a super dope streetwear brand, as well as some links to these hats. I get asked about these all the time. The green is actually sold out, but they have some other colorways. Anyways, I'm not gonna get into too much depth because we gotta get to the thrift store and start the video. Okay, anyways, let's get to it. Good morning. All right, not a bad day. Got a couple single stitch 90s tees, gray, late 90s essential. Last row before I head back. Ooh, Pro Player Packers, embroidered Bellman, which just sounds hella fancy, on the USA made Russell Athletic. And then of course, a little Eminem NASCAR tee. Not bad. Hey, you have a good day. Okay, so I tried dyeing this t-shirt. It did not go as planned. I was hoping to get like a light creme de la creme color. It's still really cool. It's not quite what I was going for. So I need to practice on some more white tees before I touch this beautiful masterpiece. Okay, real quick, this hat that I'm wearing, although it is not a part of the top 5 brands in this video, a lot of people ask me about this, so I'm going to say this while they are still in stock. I got this hat from Urban Outfitters. There's this one, there's also this absolutely gorgeous tan white socks. We'll leave all of those linked in the description down below if you would like to get your hands on them. They're just this super clean, chain stitch, new era snapback. But getting into the top 5 streetwear brands, the first brand we will discuss is FuckingAwesome. We will just refer to it or shorten that or abbreviate that to FA. I have worn this on some social posts, like for example, when I posted a picture of me visiting my Uncle Desi in Tampa, Florida. Super clean, oversized polyester flannel. I love the way this thing looks. When I first came across this piece, I actually was not aware of what brand it was. I saw this dude at the Seattle Goodwill bins. I was sifting through clothes, looking for vintage grails, as you guys know that I already do if you guys watch the trips to the thrift. I look up and I see this majestic young man looking absolutely fly, fresh, whatever adjective you would like to use to describe this individual. Yeah, I was like, man, his outfit is really cool. He was wearing this flannel with some corduroy pants, not too unsimilar to the ones that I am wearing. But yeah, his outfit was cool. I was like, man, this guy looks really cool. I wish I knew what brand that flannel was. Well, eventually I ended up coming across a flannel that was either of a similar colorway or this particular color. And I was like, wow, I did not know that was FA. I need that. So of course, I go to the interwebs, I start scouring the internet, I go to FA's website, sold out. I go to a bunch of other websites that carry FA, sold out. I call up some local skate shops like 35th Ave, sold out. And finally, after doing some investigative research, I find a skate shop in Canada that is actually able to ship to the US and has a size small in stock. When it comes to tops, I normally go between size small and size medium. With this one, I decided to go with a size small because it is an oversized flannel and I knew that the material was polyester, so it's a little bit stretchier than some other fabrics like wool. Wool and polyester have their pros and cons. I have wool flannels, I have polyester flannels. Wool is a little bit itchier, but it is a little bit more protective against outerwear elements. It's also a little bit more stiff than polyester. The material kind of pills up naturally, gives it this almost like vintage look. I remember I saw a video from Sauce Walk, I think it was RIP Buddy, and as soon as I saw him wearing this like cool yellow flannel, I was like, man, I need that. Thankfully, I was able to come across it. I don't know if any website has this. I will leave it linked below if it is. Also in the links below, like I said, not only will I leave a link to these hats, but I will also leave a link to these corduroy beach pants. They are super affordable. Once again, Urban Urban Outfitters. Do not sleep. The first streetwear brand was, of course, FA. No particular order, but since the first brand was a skateboarding brand, we might as well discuss another skateboarding brand, Dime. Dime is a brand that is based out of Montreal, Canada. As I've said many times, skateboarding is a dominant force behind streetwear culture. A lot of streetwear brands have some kind of roots within the world of skateboarding. As streetwear has grown and become more and more popular, you see brands like Dime that kind of fall in that weird in-between space. I've showed off Dime, I think, one other time on this channel, but one thing I love about Dime is their attention to detail, and the quality of their pieces is actually quite nice. Plus, the price is not as bad as some other established streetwear brands. I'm not gonna say it's cheap. For example, I got this jacket right here. This is a super nice quality wool jacket with this like studded detail going across the front. You have this majestic, ever so elegantly embroidered Dime hit on the titty, and then you turn it around. Once again, you have this wave sewn in piece on the back, and then this elegant embroidery on the back of the neck. This like wave that they do within their clothing is pretty synonymous throughout a lot of their pieces, but this was, I believe, $230. I mean, if this same piece was Supreme, it would probably be like $300 to $350. This actually came in 3 colors. It came in a caramel or like khaki color. Now, I also got another flannel. I've been liking flannels. I did get the caramel or like tan colorway this time. I like this color. Once again, it has this elegant Dime embroidery on the titty or the pocket flap. You see these curvatures kind of throughout the entire piece, on the pockets, on the back, even on the sleeve itself. I believe this was like $200, somewhere right around there, which is a little bit more expensive for this piece. It also came in 3 colors, a black, this color, and a baby blue. I actually wanted the baby blue, but I was getting it for my phone. It sold out before I could get it. I was on my way to a Portland vintage flea market, which you guys probably saw if you guys watched the last trip to the thrift. If you guys didn't, I'll put that somewhere on the iCard, but yeah. Now we have 2 other streetwear brands to discuss. Oh, wait, sorry. 3 other streetwear brands to discuss. The first brand is, of course, Born and Raised. This right here is a brand that I have loved for many years. I have said this many times. It's one of my favorite streetwear brands. You can see this back embroidery is a little bit aged. I've been trying to wear this jacket out over time to make it look a little bit older. I'm not doing a great job. I left this thing outside for like 3 months. They usually have a coating that will protect it from outer elements. So when you see some of those faded Carhartts, it takes some time to fade, or you have to use harsh chemicals like bleach. I did not want to use bleach. I did try fading it using baking soda and salt. I don't know, man. It looks a little worn, but the color hasn't really gone away. Maybe a little bit, but if so, not much. I'm currently comparing it to the pants, but this was a set. This was a collaboration between Born and Raised and Awake New York. I have put on for Born and Raised for years. I think they're really true to the roots of streetwear culture. I've met a lot of the people behind Born and Raised, which was a cool experience. Anyways, they also released a pant. Once again, a Carhartt pant. You can see by the tags I have not worn these. I'm going to try to customize these and wear these down. Eventually, my plan is to have these super faded and give them a nice vintage look. I will update you on how that process goes. Now, I didn't get all these pieces yet. However, recently there was a collaboration between Born and Raised and Mr. Cartoon. This is from the first collab. As you can see, I dyed the tee. It's not exactly where I would like to have it, but I would like to eventually get this tee to be a little bit more distressed. I want to just make some alterations, and I will update you guys on that customization process as well. I also have this white tee that I will eventually dye. It has the Born and Raised and Mr. Cartoon hit on the back. Mr. Cartoon is like a very popular figure in tattoo and graffiti culture. So when Born and Raised collaborates with Mr. Cartoon, I'm gonna be buying something. I actually bought a couple things from the recent collection. Although some of those pieces did not arrive, I did purchase some items from Born and Raised on Black Friday. There was a little sale that personally I felt I had to take advantage of. This piece right here, the sale was too good to pass up. I had to get this. They make some of the sickest rayons. I kind of wish it was a short sleeve, but I don't care. I just love the pattern on this thing. Drama mask, the handcuffs, the chains, little peacocks. Probably created by the man, the myth, the legend, Two-Tone. For those of you guys that don't know the origin story behind Born and Raised, basically an idea that was started while Sponto was incarcerated. I would say some of these brands, although they're not low-key, they could almost be replaced within a low-key streetwear unboxing. To me, Born and Raised is super underappreciated, but I don't think some of those brands get the mainstream attention that they deserve. I know that word mainstream is kind of like a word that a lot of people probably don't want their favorite clothing brand to fall under, but for me, if I like a brand and I believe in the team behind that brand, I want to see them win. So like, I would love to see all those brands, especially Born and Raised, being that I've met Sponto, I've met Two-Tone, I've met these figureheads in the culture that I admire. I would love to see them just be crazy successful to the same level of the next brand that I'm showing you guys, which is Stussy. Yes, Stussy. Stussy is like a legacy streetwear brand. For those of you guys that don't know, Stussy is like one of the grandfathers of streetwear. And no, it's not Stussy, it is Stussy.
Sean Stuzy.
I don't know why people always try to incorrectly correct me. Just do some research, go YouTube some interviews, whatever you gotta do. But the first piece I wanna show you guys was this piece right here. I don't remember the price on this piece, but I remember it was somewhat reasonable when compared to other authentic leather suede jackets. This is an all suede jacket looking like they straight skinned a young calf. Stussy quality workwear. I did get a size small because I wanted to go with like a more high fashion fit. I just wanted to be a little bit more cropped in the body. It's not quite as cropped as I would like, but it still looks super good. It fits perfect. I was looking at a lot of other suede jackets and all of them were so expensive. They were like $1,000+ for every one that I wanted. So when Stussy released one, I was like, man, I gotta get this. It's from one of my favorite streetwear brands. As you can see, you have the little Stussy embossed hit right there. Super subtle branding. The quality is immaculate. You have a little button to enclose this pocket. And then you can kind of see some pocket outlines, but no pocket. And that is because the pocket is actually on the inside. So if you open this thing up, you'll see like a little inside pocket. Like I said, I went with a size small. I do not believe you can get this piece anymore. This is probably one of the older pieces that I purchased that I just never really fit into a video. I also got this piece. So Stussy's been doing more with this like workwear label right here. They actually have some really cool contrast hoodies that use the same workwear patch. Now earlier I talked about these hats that I got from Urban Outfitters, which once again I will leave linked in the description down below. Another hat that I got was this. This was a recent Stussy pickup. Crown is a little too deconstructed for my personal taste. Like I said, I love Stussy. That is 4 streetwear brands. We have one more before we go. And this is what my storage unit is looking like right now. A lot of clothes. One of my favorite FTP pieces, which is the next brand we're discussing. Woohoo! I wish these were my size. These are size 34. I have so much stuff I gotta sell on Sneaks EA. This should be it. And now that we got what we need, it's time to go back home. As you guys can see, the next brand, FTP. Alrighty then. And I just realized that one of the pieces I wanted to show off, I sadly forgot, or I don't know where it's at. I didn't see it in the storage unit. Anyways, it doesn't matter because it uses the exact same graphic that is used on this skate deck right here. The piece that I cannot find is this USPS or US Postal Service workers jacket, and the lining is filled with these FTP USPS shipping labels that have the FTP hands or FTP tags. This is significant because a lot of graffiti artists will use these USPS tags to, you know, practice hands and just like sit there and leave tags on. Super dope graphic. And one of my homies who actually does graffiti, he was so hyped when they did this. Like I said, he actually does graffiti. He owns a brand as well, Kill Brand, CILL. As soon as they announced this or showed this off, he sent it to me and he was like, bro, you gotta check this out. I have talked about like my appreciation for graffiti in the past. In fact, my homie Carlos that I just mentioned, he even helped me with a little piece that we did when I did an Instagram photo wearing the FTP Fredo tee years ago. Like most of the brands in this video, they kind of fall in this weird space. It's still like a community thing. And what's crazy about FTP is their community is not based in skateboarding. They don't really have roots in skateboarding. In fact, on these decks, it says FTP is not a skateboard company. This is another deck they did. I love these decks. Even though I don't skateboard, I got these to hang on my wall because I'm a fucking poser. No, for those of you guys that don't know, skateboard style has definitely influenced my style. I used to ride bikes when I was younger. Being in the world of BMX, not really having anywhere where you could shop for cool shit. Literally all my clothes came from 35th Ave, which is a local skate shop, Northwest Snowboards, which no longer exists, or Dan's Comp magazine. Speaking of bikes, did I ever show off the gold bike? For those of you guys that don't know, FTP collaborated with Colt and they released 2 bikes, the Cruiser, and they released the gold BMX bike. I have both of them because I'm a big fan of Colt and a big fan of FTP, so I needed those. Some other pieces, I got these little ping pong paddles. I am filthy on the ping pong table, and I also got this piece right here. I got a lot more stuff. These are just some of the items I'm planning on keeping in my personal collection or considering. I might end up selling this piece just because I don't really know if I'll wear it, but it's just so sick. FTP is still a real independent brand, but they have gotten so much better when it comes to quality. Like, look at this hoodie. It's made up of all these little micro FTP logos. I believe it's even glow in the dark. The skull is also made of a bunch of little micro FTP logos. Super sick. And one thing I love about FTP is even as their quality has gotten better, their prices has remained reasonable. Like I said, FTP is a brand that kind of falls in that low-key category because at the end of the day, they don't really have like that crazy mainstream success. You'll see collaborations between Stussy and Dior. That is mainstream success. You probably will not see that with FTP. Different different things can make a brand somewhat low-key. I think the fact that FTP still predominantly rocks with the same team they've had since day one is what kind of makes them, to me, low-key, not to mention their community. Brands like Dime, Born and Raised, all these brands, if you go ask your average person, they're not gonna know who it is. And this is kind of crazy to say because some of these brands might do more sales than, you know, Diamond Supply Co does now, but at the end of the day, if you show a bunch of people Diamond Supply Co or any tees from the brands I showed off today except for Stussy, that Diamond Supply Co will probably still have more brand recognition just because of the mainstream success that they achieve. That's why most of these brands, I would feel comfortable putting them in a low-key brand unboxing only if I had some other like way more low-key brands, like brands that were less known in the community. And although streetwear has become a lot more mainstream and men's fashion has become such a bigger market, like you guys gotta think, when I was doing this, when I first started making YouTube videos, the biggest channel on men's fashion, I think had 5,000 subscribers, and that was Jacob Keller. This market has grown so much in the last decade, and although it has become somewhat mainstream, and that mainstream success somewhat, I don't know, I feel like it bothers people that are really into the community, still, you know, one of those things where if you go up to your average everyday person, if you walk into a Safeway, you are probably not going to see someone wearing an FTP hoodie, and if you do, you're gonna be like, oh damn, that's cool. For me, all 5 of these brands that I showed you guys today are all brands that I love. They're brands that I admire, they're brands that I respect, and I honestly hope they only continue to get bigger. I would love for them to get to the supreme streetwear level. For me, the hype behind a brand does not determine whether or not that brand is good. Even though I stopped making Supreme videos, I didn't stop buying Supreme. I'm still copping Supreme, and there's actually been some really cool stuff this season. I don't know why when brands blow up, people just like want to hold on to this thing and be like, nah, bro, like, I was on that shit first. But like when I first started making FTP videos, I would get hate, and there would be people that would comment and be like, this guy probably doesn't even know about Suicide Boys, because they literally thought that FTP was Suicide Boys merch. So they would impose their snobbery upon me, and they weren't even right. Just like with Stussy, when people will comment and be like, oh, it's Stussy, it's not Stussy. And once again, they're not even right. Like, what are you doing? I like streetwear. I like showing off low-key brands, and when I first started this channel, that was my main focus. I went from low-key brand unboxings to trips to the thrift to doing just Supreme content for like 2 or 3 years. And now I'm at a point where I'm just creating a little bit of everything, and I'm liking it. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys liked this video. Maybe you guys were not aware of some of these brands, and if you were aware of all these brands, maybe you just haven't been paying attention to them and realizing that they are still doing some cool stuff. So in the links down below, I will leave these hats. I'll also leave a link to +1, like I also mentioned before. If you guys would like to join, you guys want to get into reselling sneakers, streetwear, or right now consoles, because people are reselling consoles like crazy. In fact, it was actually a PS5 and Xbox drop this morning, which dropped while I was at the thrift store. But anyways, check out +1. Like I said, in the description down below, it is only $9.99 a month, cheaper than a Netflix subscription, and Netflix is gonna lose you money, +1's gonna make you some money. You already know what time it is. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. All right, as always, keep living the star life. And peace.
Star life, Chris say shooting on magic. All these stars been ran through, goddamn it.
You think I'm gonna fuck with a bucket that's gonna break down on me? You ain't no Honda. I don't give a fuck who you is, you gonna break down on me. A real Honda.